Manchester United in a great position heading into the League Cup final, Wrighty. And that is largely down to Marcus Rashford, who is in the form of his life, isn't he?
He is. And you know what I mean? I'm pleased for him. He's worked very hard to get into this situation. You know, he's had I think the last summer was the first summer he had a real proper break. We saw him doing his training, his fitness stuff. And he said, you know what I mean? He's just pleased to be able to get that so as he can get himself ready to go. And there you can see it there. You know, top 5 leagues in all comps, he's flying. So, and you know, he looks like he's at a level and he's playing with a confidence that you feel he's going to score in every game.
Yeah.
You know,
everything he touches turns to gold. It's ridiculous.
And
I think it just shows, especially for you guys, having been in the similar positions, that how much confidence.
There's a moment where he sort of looks up, looks to Garnacho, and he's like, you know, last season he might have passed that, but this time he was like, took one look and went, no.
You probably should have passed it this time. The of arrogance there with him, and I quite like that. But he just looks completely different. Not in terms of the way he's playing, but even his physique, his stature, he looks bigger, he looks stronger. I think in the summer he'd been working with his own trainer. He's come back fully fit, and he just looks so dangerous. He looks powerful. He knows exactly what he's doing. He looks assured. Because there have been moments, even though he's scoring goals, where he's been a bit quiet in games, and you think, oh, what's he going to do? But gets the opportunity, and he takes it. But right now, I mean, talk about, we saw the stats for itself, 16 goals since the World Cup. Some people don't hit that in a season, and he's hit that in one quarter, one fraction of the season. So he's on unbelievable form.
I don't know if anyone's seen him play since the turn of the year, but I went to the Arsenal-United game, and when he's on the ball, the air just disappears from the room. It's like everyone falls silent because they know something special is going to happen. And I think there are so few players like that in the Premier League around the world where people are just stopped in their tracks. And I think it's really special to see that, whether it's on television or live, because you're like, wow, there is literally something about this person right now, how they're playing.
Yeah.
Every bit of his game, Wrighty, is, you know, the confidence, not even just when he's through on goal, but when he's got the ball and he's running at players. He's so difficult to defend against. Like, everything right now is perfect for Marcus
Rashford. You know what as well, Liv, I think what is underestimated there as well is Benny McCarthy's on the coaching staff, a striker, elite striker himself, Benny McCarthy. And I think I saw what some of the headers, the 2 headers he scored recently, and he's being coached now. You can feel that. You feel with Ten Hag is coaching him, and when he got into the team originally, you know, the amount of managers he's had up to this point, you know, with the injuries, with the drop in form and everything, and then, you know, for a young guy, you know, still relatively young man, and so he's gone through all that. Now he's got a manager who is a proper coach for him. He's playing in a system that he understands with confidence. And, you know, it's just starting to happen for him. You know, they're playing to his strengths, and, you know, he's ready to go. So, you know, I think this is gonna last for a while.
Yeah, without Marcus Rashford, you know, you don't want, obviously, anything to happen to Marcus Rashford. But is it a worry for Erik Ten Hag that they are so reliant on him, or not really?
Maybe a slight concern, but you look at the emergence of Jadon Sancho, and I really like the management that he's done with him, because a lot of players might have taken that as a negative when Erik Ten Hag sent him away, not part of his plans, but clearly he spoke to him and said, listen, you get yourself back into mentally and physically, and I will integrate you back into the squad. And what has he done? He's came back, scored a couple of goals, and he's starting to look like his old self.
Yeah.
So it would be a concern slightly because of the form of Marcus Rashford, but when you've got Garnacho who's emerging like he is, you've got Jadon Sancho,
Bruno in great form as well.
Wout Weghorst, who actually looks decent as well, even playing midfield or centre forward. I think there are options there. So if you're Erik Ten Hag, yes, you don't want anything to happen to him, but you have got other players that are scoring goals as well. So maybe it's not the end of the world.
With Sancho, Benty mentioned him there. It shows a lot about his character, doesn't it? And the way he's sort of turned it all around himself and getting on the score sheet as well. It says a lot about him, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think to what Ian said, I think when you've got a coach who can understand footballers better and also versatile players and realise that, right, we don't need to just force Sancho out on the wing because that's not the only place he can play. And he played in the 10 yesterday and looked phenomenal. Yeah. And I think it's exciting to see what he can be in that role and what Ten Hag obviously sees in him, because I think you need a coach like that to really see the bigger picture. And also, although Manchester United have spent a lot of money over the last few seasons and it hasn't worked out, I think Ten Hag's got a better idea of how to work with what he's got and not maybe chase so many players like maybe they have over the last couple of seasons and it hasn't worked out, always think that this will be the player that does it. This will be the final piece of the puzzle. I think Ten Hag has a better understanding of like, right, I've got this group, maybe you're one or two away from the perfect squad, but I've got a group that I now need to work with and I can get the best out of these players. And I don't think Anthony's really kicked on maybe that quite what people would expected of him. But I think where the team are right now, I think people expect them to make a massive push for the title next season.
I feel as well that they're just kind of, I have to say, they're a Harry Kane away from really kicking in for me, because like when you look at even Weghorst, yes, I've been very surprised with him coming off at a 9, going in 10, making things happen. But if that's the plan, then Harry Kane's the perfect person to do that, because like when you're looking at Rashford in that form, Garnacho with his pace, you know, if Anthony kicks in, you know, with everything what they've got going forward, with a proper number 9, Man United will be back, because with Lisandro Martinez, they're probably going to have to add to the centre-half situation as well. You just feel like Man United are not a million miles away, and they're very much in this as well. With City playing like they're playing, Arsenal making sure that they've got to keep doing what they're doing. Manchester United, they're not a million miles away. That's
also a month ago, everyone was saying without Casemiro, they can't compete. Now he's suspended, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
5 points off the top. You know, if we talk about Arsenal and Man City being in title race, they're only 3 points off City, Benty. Are they in the title race as well?
Unfortunately so. You have to, because they can't be so close to City playing as well as they are and say they're not in the title race, because they've put runs together. As you were saying there about Casemiro, it was almost like if they lose Casemiro, what happens? Although Leicester, by the way, had opportunities yesterday, so he was a bit of a miss. But when you've got someone like Rashford who could take his chances, they've got this goals coming off the bench than anyone in the Premier League. So it tells you that the squad that he's got there, they're all working really well. They're all in a good place. So they are in the title race. You can't hide the fact. Consistency might kill them a little bit, but still, you can't say they're not. They're only 3 points behind Manchester City.
Is it concerning, though, Flo, that, you know, they got the job done in the end against Leicester, but had David De Gea not made a couple of incredible saves and Leicester perhaps took their chances, they could have been 2 or 3-0 down?
I suppose, but I think there's a resilience there that maybe didn't exist the start of the season, especially think about that game against Brentford. I think there were times at this season when a lot of people thought, right, Manchester United, do they have what they used to have in the old era, which is that never say die attitude and that idea that they can come back from anything? And I think we're starting to see that a little bit more. And De Gea, someone who's struggled with form recently and needed some confidence and maybe hasn't looked his best over the last couple of years, that was a phenomenal performance yesterday, and they needed that.
But the thing with De Gea, we were talking about, not too long ago, he was like their player of the season for 3-4 years on the spin, simply because of the saves he made. And I don't go with that one, Liv, where people say, but like if they took their chances, simply because people are not taking their chances. And if you don't take them, that's what can happen. And that's what Man United have to learn from that, because they'll say, listen, we could have been behind.
We can't afford to do that.
Exactly, Liv. And so the goalkeepers kept them in it. That's what you want your goalkeeper to do.
It's his job. That's what Eric Ten Hag said after the game. It was like, they were great saves, but that's what he's there
that's
for.
His job. You sound like Roy Keane. The thing is that's what you want. Is that because then again that feeds into the confidence, because you know, even if they do break out defence and get past, our goalkeeper's in top form at the moment. And if they don't take those chances, we've got a striker who's one of the best in Europe.
And I feel like that's the difference when you're a team like Leicester or, dare I say, Chelsea, is when push comes to shove, those chances aren't going in, and that's why you are where you are in the table. And that's the difference, is that clinical teams will get so far in the league and finish where they are because they're clinical. And that's why the City situation feels different to when they miss chances compared to a Leicester or a Chelsea or, you know, whoever is stuck right now.
Thanks for that, folks. Anyway, speaking of goalkeepers, of course, Manchester United play Newcastle in the League Cup final on Sunday.